everybody, it's Emily at Arg Schooling, and today I'm going to be doing a mid-year reading goals check-in. It is June, which means we are halfway through the year. I don't know how that happened, but there we are. Anyway, I thought it would be kind of fun to do a check-in because I set some goals at the beginning of the year. I always do. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to just see where I am in my goals for the year since I'm halfway through. I made a video in December about 10 books that I wanted to read in 2018. And of those 10 books, I've read one of them. So I made this list because there are books that I really want to get to, but you know, I'm eyeballs deep in level 11 and family reading crate books, and I don't always have time for personal reading, I should say. I squeeze something in here and there, but yeah, so of those 10 books, the only one I did get to was The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, which I loved, and this I read because it's going to be in level 11. And honestly, it's going to be in level 11 because I really wanted to read this book. I did think it would make sense in the level. I mean, obviously, I didn't just throw it in because I wanted to read it. But yeah, it's in level 11, therefore I made time to read it. But I still have 9 books on that list that I need to get to. And of those 9, I really only see myself getting to maybe 2 of them. So, yeah. But I do hope to read it. I'll link that video somewhere if you want to see the books that I planned to read and have not yet gotten to. But yeah, so I don't know. I always make all these plans like I'm going to read all the books, and that does not always happen. I'm also doing the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge this year. I'm only doing the main challenges. I'm not doing the advanced or extras because I'm being realistic. So of those, I think there's 40. I've done 19 of them. So I'm actually making decent progress. I'm almost halfway. So I'm feeling pretty good that I might actually finish the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. The trick that I use is that I don't plan books for it. I sort of read and then go through and say, okay, well I read this, this, and this. How do they fit into the challenges? So I have done a little finagling, like the one about your favorite color. I'm just doing a color because I did read a book with a color in the title, and I'm going to use that because I don't hate that color, so it'll work. But yeah, for the most part, I've actually had really good luck just accidentally reading books that fit the challenges, so yay for that. The last several years I've done the Pop Sugar Challenge, I failed miserably, so this might be my year. I will do a wrap-up at the end of the year of all the books that I read that fit the challenges. Even if I don't actually finish, I'll still give you the wrap-up because I think I'm actually going to hit pretty, if not exactly 40, I might hit pretty close to it. My Goodreads goals, I always set a goal for the year. Every year for the last, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, I've done the Goodreads reading challenge where you just set a goal and like, I'm going to read this many books this year. And in the past, I've set it way too high. The last 2 years, I set it at 50. And this year, I decided that I thought I could maybe swing up a little bit again, so I set it for 70. And right now, I'm at 48. So I'm feeling pretty good that I'm going to hit 70 because I'm more than halfway. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I know that I can hit 70 books by the end of the year. I read about 6 to 9 books a month, depending on the month. I think I'm pretty set for that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was 5-star reads. Now, if you followed me for a little while, you'll know that my rating system is sort of like, if I like a book, it's a 3. If I really liked it, it's a 4. If I loved it, it's a 5. So I don't have that many 5-star reviews. This year, so far, I've had 4. So that is pretty awesome. I don't usually get that many in the whole year, let alone in half a year. Ones that I've actually read that are 5 stars, I'm just going to show and briefly discuss. And the first one is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This was a reread. I love the Chaos Walking trilogy so much. I read it 2 years ago, I think, and I reread this because it's going to be at level 11. And ugh, I love this book so much. It's about this planet that these people have colonized and things have gone wrong. First of all, when you get to this planet, if you're a man, you're going to have noise. Basically, everything you think is amplified and everyone can hear it. And animals have noise. So the animals all have this voice and you can hear them. And so it's loud there. There's noise, and that's what they call it, the noise. And only men are affected. All animals are affected, but only men seem to be affected by this. Women don't have noise. And you meet the protagonist, Todd, at the beginning, and he's sort of explaining the world and laying out for you what's going on, but he's also having a little bit of a crisis. Things have gone wrong, like really wrong, where he lives in his town, and he doesn't know that there's anything outside of it. And one day he stumbles into this pocket of quiet and discovers a girl, and he's never seen a girl because only men live in his town, called Prentice Town, where he's from, and things happen from there. This book is so good. It's so good. The whole trilogy is just phenomenal. I am so excited because this is being made into a movie and I'm like so ready for it. I have to say I'm not thrilled with the casting because I think they made them too old, and I'm like, please don't make it a romance. Please don't make it a romance. One of the things that I loved so much about this series is that it is young adult, but there's no romance. Like, there's a relationship between Todd and Viola. They have a thing, but it's not romance. They're just very, I love how Patrick Ness did that because it's so rare to find young adult where there's not either just straight up romance or a love triangle of some kind or anything nonsensical like that. And so I loved that this was a story about what was happening in this world with Todd and Viola, and all this stuff is happening, but it's not about the romance. I'm nervous that the movie is going to do a full-on romance because they made them way too old. I think in the book Todd's like almost 13, just about to turn 13, and Viola's about the same age. And so in the movie it looks like they're going to be almost like, well, they're adults, honestly. It's Daisy Ridley and the guy that plays Spider-Man. I'm like, come on. That's not 13-year-olds. So I'm a little bit iffy on that, but I'm still going to see it because it's the chaos walking. My other 5-star read was Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I'm not going to go in all over this because if you've followed me, you've heard me gush about this book before. It's wonderful and everyone should read the series. This is the second book in the Arc of the Scythe. It's amazing. The third book comes out next year sometime, I believe. I don't know when. I have not heard. I know he has another book coming out not in the series that I've already pre-ordered because I'm here for all the Neal Shusterman. But yeah, read this if you haven't yet. Start with Scythe, read Thunderhead. You can thank me later. The next 5-star read I read was Rebel Queen by Michelle Moran. I loved this so much. I loved it. This book is just so well written. It's historical fiction done like exceedingly well. I love historical fiction. I read a lot of it, and sometimes it feels very historical, and sometimes it's a pet peeve of mine. I hate when characters are acting like they live now. I'm like, that's not how they might have behaved back then. It just wouldn't fit the time. I loved that this very much felt like I was there in that time. It felt authentic. I loved it. I want to read all of Michelle Moran's books now because I loved this book so much. This is about a girl named Sita who becomes a Durga doll, which is like a group of bodyguards for the queen in India, and they're awesome badasses. They fight, they know all these, they do all these weapons training, but they're also really intelligent, and there's a lot of court intrigue happening in the story, which I loved. And you see from their perspective the British colonization of India, of how it started and how it's growing and how it's becoming more and more of a problem for the people of India. And I loved this book so much. And the last book I want to talk about, I just finished. Like, I read this and finished it like 2 days ago. So it's still very fresh in my mind and in my heart. And that is Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. I have had this on my TBR for since it came out, I've been wanting to read this for a really long time. I know it got a lot of hype and I was a little bit trepidatious, a little bit nervous going in, that because whenever a book is that hyped, I end up not liking it. But this deserves all the hype. This book was so good. And I'm still like, I can't really talk about it. Like, I want to talk about it, but I need to let it sit longer. I need to let it simmer more. But basically, this book is about two sisters who are split apart by circumstances beyond their control. They don't even know that the other exists. And one is her family line remains in Africa, so you can see what happens through the generations. Each chapter covers a different person in the next generation. So the first one is Afia, and she marries a British soldier who is living in the castle there at the time. And so she marries a white man, and her line is the one that remains in Africa. And the other is kidnapped and taken to the dungeon in the same castle where Afia is living a good life as the wife of a soldier. And she's kidnapped and taken as a slave and sold off to the Americas. And so you follow the American line and see how things grow and change and develop for them over time. And it's just, this book is all about basically how we screwed up Africa and ruined the lives of millions of people. Yeah, I felt angry and sad and frustrated at how much things have not changed over the years. You know, you think about how much we should have grown by now, and it's like, no, we're still having the same problems, and I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if you can fix that. I don't know, but it sucks and it makes me sad. But this book is beautiful, it's well written, it's amazing, and I think everyone should read it. It's going to be on level 11, and yeah, there is some sex in it, so if you feel uncomfortable about that, I don't know how you want to approach that, but I mean, it's level 11, so I'm thinking 16, 17-year-olds, like, I have no qualms handing this to my twins when they're 16, but yeah, I think everyone should read this book. It really makes you think about things, and think about how we should change things, and yeah. So those are my 5-star reads. So anyway, that is where I'm at in my reading. I have a lot of books that I still really want to read this year, even more that I've added that I'm like, I really want to read that isn't on my top 10 list. There are some things that I'm excited about reading soon. I do have some books in my level 11 pile that I'm like really excited, anticipating reading. So just a few books that I'm looking forward to, that I know I'm going to pick up this year. I say that, but anyway, some of them I do know I'm going to pick up because they're in level 11. So I'm really looking forward to reading The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, The Librarian of Auschwitz by Antonio Iturbe, Nothing to Envy, Ordinary Lives in North Korea by Barbara Demick. I've had this on my list of books I've been wanting to read for forever, so I'm really excited that I'm going to pick this up for level 11. And I also have A Canticle for Leibowitz by Walter M. Miller Jr. that I've been saying I'm going to read this with the boys. We haven't started it yet, but I really want to read this. It's on so many lists of must-read books, and we really need to pick this up. I'm hoping to get to it. And finally, this book, I don't know when this is going to happen, but I really, really want to read it, and that is Stephen King's new book, The Outsider. I got this as a surprise from my husband. He pre-ordered it for me, and I was so excited when I saw it because I didn't even register in my brain that I knew about it vaguely, but I didn't register that this was coming out. I forgot all about it. So that was quite the surprise. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's a huge chunk of a book, but I really want to read it because, you know, I love my Stephen King. Also, I didn't grab them because I couldn't reach. They were behind some things. I really want to finish Joe Hill's Lock and Key series. I think I have 2 books left to finish the series. I'm like, dang it, I need to read those. I want to finish it. The Lock and Key series is still a thing that's going to happen at some point on TV. I think Netflix picked it up, which I'm like, yes, I actually have Netflix. I don't have Hulu, so that's exciting. But I don't know when that's going to come out. But yeah, so that is what I'm hoping to get to. So this is my kind of reading goals check-in at the halfway point. How are you doing in your reading goals? Have you accomplished what you'd set out to accomplish? Are you close to accomplishing? Do you think you're going to hit your goals by the end of the year? Let me know down below in the comments and we can chat about it. If you haven't yet subscribed and you want to see more content like this, click the subscribe button down below. If you hit the little bell, you'll be notified every time I make a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.